Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the Browning version. Here I am Mr. Kamlakant, KV number 1 JRC Kent Bareli. And dear student, today we are going to discuss about the Browning version written by Terence Rattigan. This is the play, and this play is related to class 11, as you are seeing in the presentation also. The Browning version, this lesson, this play is written by Terence Rattigan. This is the picture of Terence Rattigan. Now see that before we start to discuss about the Browning version, you know that the play that gives the big impression on our mind, because directly the dialogues which we read in a play, they are associated with our life. So certainly there is a big role of the play in our life. Now see that when we start to read out the Browning version or any play, some of the objectives are there, especially when I would like to talk about the Browning version. Here, the sum of the objectives are developing skills of scanning, scheming, and reading, enhancing vocabulary of the students, making extensive reading an enjoyable experience, understanding the issue of the status of a teacher in a community. This is the big issue there in this play. Enabling the students to realize their responsibilities towards teachers and community. Now see that when we discuss about the main characters and places related to the Browning version, the main character in this play, Mr. Crocker Harris, who is a teacher. Mr. Frank is also a teacher, young teacher, a science teacher who teaches science. Mr. Crocker Harris, who teaches language. And the main character in this play is Taplow. He is a student. Taplow is a student, right? He is in a lower fifth. Very soon he would be promoted to the next class if he would get his remove, if he would pass from the lower fifth. Millie Crocker Harris' wife, and the place is school. Place is a school. Now see that the methodology which we have to adapt to discuss this lesson, that is dramatization. That is very important because the different roles are to be assigned to the children in the classroom, and the children will have to perform the different roles like the Mr. Crocker Harris, Taplow, Frank, as well as Millie. Introductory questions on student-teacher relationship in a school. This is the beginning part, that how to start to discuss about the elementary, the questions related to the school, related to the education, so that the teacher and student both they become informal while they are discussing about the things. Group work, and that can be assigned to the children by giving the different roles. It should be the child centered because it is a play. This should be completed by the children of the class. The debate can be conducted there in the classroom, that the scenario of the school, scenario of the education system which existed in our society. With the help of the PowerPoint presentation, it can be revealed, it can be find out, and then ultimately recapitulation to find out that whatever we have discussed about the play, and then ultimately we have to give the home assignment to the children so that whatever they grasp, and ultimately they have to show this thing in a written. Now the teaching aids which are required to complete this play: NCERT main book, Hornbill, PowerPoint presentation, that is very much important. Items for the stage setting, for the dramatization, because the stage that is required there, because first of all there is a appearance of the tableau, who is a lower fifth student, and certainly he reaches to the school as early, because the task that has been assigned by Mr. Crocker Harris, who is a very traditional, very strict teacher. So the stage setting, that is very important, because the characters, they would come there on the stage and they would perform their roles. Now, when we are turning the pages of the this play, the some of the vocabulary that the student, they would find it may be that difficult to them, so that before starting we are going to discuss about that. Excerpt, that is a small piece of writing taken from the along whole. It is the Browning version, because this play is translated by the Robert Browning. So for that, it is the naming the Browning version. Slackers, it is very important. Person who are lazy and the avoid work. Slackers, all the people who are not so sincere about their work, they are called slackers. Muck, that is something very unpleasant. Muck, that is called something very unpleasant. Muck, rubbish thing, that is that you can say that. Strung together means joined together. Sewer, not kind, not kind. And evidently, clearly. Evidently, that is clearly, very openly. Imitating, copying, envy, to look with the grace. And sadist, that is the main word that has been used there in this play. Sadist means the someone who gets pleasure by giving the pain to others. But as it is the people, they believe that Mr. Crocker Harris is a sadist, but ultimately he is not that kind of a person. At a glance, the Browning version, as you are seeing there on the PowerPoint presentation also, the play presents a conversation between a lower fifth grade science student, Tableau, and Frank, a teacher who teaches science. Frank is a young teacher. Now see that when the teacher and a student both are sitting and they are talking about the third person, that is the third person, that is Mr. Crocker Harris, that how he is and so on, how Frank is encouraging a small child to repeat the sum of the dialogues spoken by the Mr. Crocker Harris. This is what we are going to see there. The scene of the play is set in a school. The play opens with a 16-year-old boy, Tableau, who has come to do extra work for his teacher, Crocker Harris. Crocker Harris, who has assigned the extra work to him. So he has to reach to the school, because last week he has been not been able to attend the class. Therefore, he has been assigned the punishment. He is waiting for his teacher, who has not yet arrived. The teacher has not yet arrived there in the school. Another teacher, Frank, finds Tableau waiting in the room and strikes a conversation with him. Another teacher, young teacher, Frank, who teaches science, he is also there in the school, and when he finds that Tableau is waiting there in the school to his teacher, Crocker Harris, then he began to talk to him, and how the conversation that proceeded between these two fellows, and ultimately they began to talk about Crocker Harris. Now see that after calling Tableau for extra work, Crocker himself is late by 10 minutes. Teacher, he himself has become the late by 10 minutes. Frank points that as a Crocker is late, Tableau has a chance to leave the play golf. Means that, however, Tableau seems shocked at this suggestion and is scared Mr. Crocker Harris might follow him home also. Now see that a child cannot think to bunk his class. Even Tableau is not thinking to go out, even though the teacher is not there in the school. In spite of that, means that it means that teacher is very disciplined. He is very much traditional. He is not going to vary whatever he had decided to give the punishment to the young child, that is Tableau. Now see that Tableau is awaiting his result. Now this is the main thing, that from the conversation between Frank and Tableau, we are informed that Tableau is waiting for his result to be declared on the following day. The result is to be declared on the following day. It is very ample, it is very clear. Though the teacher who has been asked him to is there in the school and is expecting that it may be that the promotion that would be in his favor, but it is not related to the Crocker Harris because he is a very different kind of a teacher. He is keen to specialize in science provided he gets a favorable result. The uniqueness of Mr. Crocker Harris is hinted as he does not tell the result like the other teacher do. He is not that type of a teacher who would like to just disclose the result before the announcement in front of the head of the institute. He follows the rule of the headmaster declaring the result on the last day of the term. This is Tapler's views on art and science. What are his views on art and science? Their conversation provides us as an insight into the mind of Taplow. He lets Frank know how much he dislikes the play Agamemnon. He is more interested in science. Agamemnon, that is a Greek tragedy, and he himself admits that though the play is not that bad, the way it is taught is terrible, just a lot of Greek words strung together and 50 lines if you get them wrong. It means that it is up to the teacher, that how the teacher is explaining the line to line means that whether the teacher is able to make it clear that what is the meaning of the particular dialogue there in the Agamemnon, that is the Greek tragedy. And even though, and that's why, only because of that, Taplow, he is not liking the Agamemnon. Otherwise, he is not going to say that Agamemnon is a rubbish thing, is a muck. It is a muck. No, it is not a muck according to him. If it would be narrated quite well by the some teacher. Okay. Now the Taplow's thoughts about Mr. Crocker is what Crocker is he used to do in his life and the views of Taplow's. As per Taplow, Crocker Harris is a different kind of a teacher. He is too strict and hardly human. Hardly human. Unlike the other teachers, he does not tell his students the result before the judgment day. When the result is to be declared, and before that, he does not like to disclose this thing in front of the other students. Taplow had asked Harris about his remove, and in response, Harris told him that he has given Taplow exactly what he deserved, not less and certainly no more. When Frank he asked him that okay, the teacher Crocker Harris has asked him to come to the school to do the extra work. Then he asked him that it means that Taplow is very much aware about his result. So when this thing Taplow told to Frank, then Frank asked him that to tell that what he replied, and in related to this, the teacher Crocker Harris, what he replied, that is just told by the Taplow that when he asked him, then he had replied that my dear Taplow, I have given the marks, not more than that and not less than that, whatever he deserved. He is that kind of a teacher. And lastly, there is an appearance of the Millie Crocker Harris. She is the wife of Crocker Harris. At this point, Millie Crocker Harris enters the room. She was Mr. Crocker Harris' wife. She suggests Taplow to run away for a quarter of an hour and come back. She advises him to leave as Harris has been at Bursar's and may take the quite a time to get back. Means that he has gone outside and it would take some time so that he can go, and the child is not giving the consent to go out at the time, but Millie, she is just handing over a slip in which the prescription of the medicine was given there, and she asked him that to go in the nearby chemist and to purchase these the medicines for him, so that this the blame she can take for the sake of Crocker Harris. Now the behavior and attitude of Mrs. Millie Crocker Harris baffles Taplow. He is not willing to leave, for it has been the order of his teacher whom he fears to disobey. Millie assures him that she will take the blame on herself, proposing an excuse for his absence. She hands Taplow a prescription, asking him to take it to a chemist and get it made for Harris. Convinced, Taplow accepts the proposal and leaves Frank and Mrs. Crocker Harris behind. the scene. This is then the evaluation that is required on the basis of this play. Write the character sketch of Tableau. Who is a Tableau and why has been there in the school? What reason does Tableau provide for doing extra work in the school? What impression of the school teacher and student do you get in the play, the Browning version? Now the sum of the preferences that we have taken it related to this play, Internet and Encarta, KBS study material and relative narratives. This is all about the play, the Browning version. Next time we will do the another one. Okay.